yade ebrewo beta sibio bidin at the Kwaku Kyeremanteng Nkansah KK Edi on behalf of the production team. Kofinto ewa hadom ede ewie enye odonko wona echinchi manasa abuafu etaichiri ede ewie manase ena obua echinchim cameras no etutu niyema yi Nana Kwame eshe MCR hodoba obona juma as always na chese nchia be kwama eye Fred ene bosheba nimi adum ejina wa wo hweme wa wutie awie yeda ase yame enhira se wachima fidie no sade aba beto eye wontumi TV so na menkai wo se dwumadie e twagu ewo Facebook ntia na awie uko Facebook a ube wo se dwumadie no e twagu ewo Facebook uko YouTube a e twagu ewo YouTube nti eye WONTUMI TV live ewo Facebook and WONTUMI TV live ewo YouTube na ene awie sade maka no ensembay ene wo ho ye ba be di bronya just about some 9 more days to a year Christmas ye ba be di bronya but dieba no bada eba political landscape no just a swaye with barely some few days before January 31st. Aspirants are mo peso to franka dema NPP. Obia ni abre a chese oye the campaign seriously. Obia eni abre with a the campaign. Na sani niema ekeka krono utumu se omo ente sebe se odogo bikra enu abai omo nte bronya case bia it is still campaign omo yen seriously badade yebe ransemu campaign matters kakra ene empo ensemu bia ekoso ewo yeman mu hanso kakra ma efidie no ena ahaseya na ene dwumadie yiso ene ebnada bronya bosumi dwumadie yiso empanifo ben ena esin konya ana sempanifo ben na etna se dwumadie yiso ene awie being a Tuesday afternoon as expected a lawyer Evans Osei Bunsu etnase ewo dwumadie yiso lawyer Evans Osei Bunsu etnase ewo dwumadie yiso enye ononko the former MCE for German South Municipal eye Honorable Andrews Bediako enche opani enso etnase ewo dwumadie yiso entimesro mefidie no enna ahaseya na yemfa ensem no emrel mefidie no enna ha yemfa ensem no emrel. All right, so quickly let's delve into a year matters arising. And the main issue ewo aside a year campaign matters then the koso de kwali benjina no ye benjibre na yabaho and then so King Solomon a year utumfo say to 2 autosubienu ai nana King Solomon and they na just a mediation report udim sa fimu and President John Dramani Mahama e pauno say empo boko constituency ho ye to abawie ye basabasa kakra in fact a long standing issue na no brass no ye to abawie ye ebia promises ne ho kron ba Mahama yarega kro na chese basabasa esi ho President Mahama de to King Solomon enim a day and an year expected and as he expected some mediation report no King Solomon ebe presente ediama President John Dramani Mahama enti ye monitor said ye niema ekrobia na dodo na empire ebo ede say eye factions na bentime ho ase esi ntem ewo soro no omo ebeti omo ho ase na omo agye report na atum emunsem na chesa asumdwe abaho na bibia tighting nti security for nso yedim so omo abalangard a chesa omo ehwe se omo di yi ebetu yi nti eno no nso eye insebo bia ewo ho na okay but nurses ne TUC ne emu ensensem odi ebe fidie no na ni nyina be kwa adamates what you say yes waso tibia no ye bema waso ate ene awie ewo jumedi so but the main topic for discussion ene awie eye Pandai constituency near friend rerun and now say Pandai constituency NDC for ediomonsem ekodai eye court Tamale High Court so mukromo issues with eye 41 polling stations na judge etna agwam eye say oh 41 no crowd you monko ye ni nyina say ye nye ni nyina rerun editimu ama ubete se empo brashe bedwafie minority no edikai raise concerns dom kuma no edikai de omasem atudwa ebra na Roxton de fia makwo de ye government na Roxton se empo MP for Pandai Matthew Yindam free a year parliament ho na ono no crowd Tamale High Court ruling sad time no speaker ebe kan se debi ntomo bo ase na asem na ndu baby a because me hu say omo crowd no omo esa akwa appeal ntomo bo ase kopem December 1st na yenhwe outcome ye be free court aba sa hwan the cobol rema egu speaker sumo afe hwa ebehwe clerk of parliament the clerk akwa electoral commission say I unprepared na akonya no aba abeda ho electoral commission enye ready say ye kwa akoto abadu bio ewo Pandai ne call so ewo brashe bidwafi ho de kwasi broni or say the rest is history. They don't edit the electoral commission and so senior order from above okay Nkansah obin so more I ready omo the dates number say abani yesa kwa akoto bronya busumi ne da etoso aduasa owi bronya nkokodo Pandai for the say akokodo mo suspend kakra na mko mo fa kokrobuti na mo de hwe nkwan no wi akokodo monfa nkutim yesa kwa akoto abani bio no mo amu free eye echi sa de beka no na yi chese benche ya omo ba beto abani bi ne bronya bosomi yesa ejai akopandai akoto abani bio omo so omo ntehwe abado de no ani say beto bronya bosomi no adechia 31st ai baby a free buy obetumi abra utumi ache so obode ekoto aba ba ye kan sa asem no na fa bi eda ho court omo file eye NPP a file for stay of execution appeal eka ho motion of certiorari digina ewo mu bi NDC for including Igwe including a speaker of parliament almost your to be a case Inti adeɛ no de ɔmo aka no de ɔmo aka. Ai adeɛ no de ɔmo betu bio because ɔmo na ɛwɔ numbers. Ɔmo na ɛwɔ tumi. Ɔmo na ɛwɔ power ɛnɛ NDC ɔgbɔdɔ. Ghana nyinaa yɛ ɔmo dia ba bia wu dia ba BC da. But asɛm de tia wa nyinaa ɛde sɛ ɛnɛ nsɛm no ɛkɔ court, Supreme Court because na ɛsa asɛm bi ɛkɔ hɔ na NPP say ɛnɛ ɛyɛ me de sɛ lawyer ɛwɔ ha na ɔmo kɔhye anaasɛ ɛmpo de Tamale High Court kumaa no ɛkaeɛ no ɔmo bu asɛm na anaasɛ ɔmo twam nyusu saa word no enti ɛnɛ Supreme Court nipa num judge for ekuku dam enum 5-member panel ɛna ɛtena ase ɔmo tena ase ɔmo etie case no ɛnɛ counsel for Matthew Yindam NPP legal team ɔgbɔdɔ Gary Dimako ɛkɔ court hɔ na near Gary Dimako nsɛm bi ɛna ɔde tu dwa ɛne sɛ ebo sei ɛna aba court kuma no sei no waka but yɛkora no NDC candidate NDC ni ɔyɛ parliamentary candidate ɛwɔ Pandai no mpanifo amatena ase yɛpɛ no na yɛde ne nkrataa ma no sɛ yɛasɛve na abranteɛ no adwane yɛpɛ no benkum a yɛhu no yɛfa di fa yɛhu no wobɛkɔ di fie ɛsɛ wapie baabia ni hɔ no ma yɛhu NDC candidate na wo na wode wasɛm akɔ court wo se wo wadi nkudim anaasɛ sɛ dɛn na wokwa afei deɛ ɔmo so de kɔ court sɛ bra mo sɛ by elections no sɛ rerun no yɛkɔ a wobɛbi TM NPP hands down court kakra ɛho nsɛm aba bra ne yɛnkɔ a wo se me mamu ehu me nti ɛnɛ Gary Nimako ɛde saa asɛm no ɛto 5-member panel no anim ɔde to ɔmo anim na mpanifo ɔbɔ ɔmo trinko ɔmo bɔ ɔmo trinko ɛna ɔmo sɛ dɛbi wei deɛ nyɛ sei na ɛsɛ koro na adeɛ no yɛbɛma mo ayɛ neɛ court for ɛfrɛ no substituted service na substituted service no yɛsɛ last 7 days ɛnɛ lawyer wɔ ha nti lawyer bɛtena ase yi deɛ na ɔbɛkyerɛkyerɛ mu nti ɛno last 7 days ɛyɛ substituted service no nti 5-member panel no etie Gary Nimako den nsɛm na ɔmo so okay fine case monsan kɔ serve no bio na ɛno no mo kɔ serve na ɔmo so tumi de bɔ ɛyɛ Tamale High Court ho baabi ɛyɛ no tumi de bɔ court n'anim hɔ bɛɛ de bobɔ miamia bɔnya na mfa nhyɛ ne nsa kora abɔ de mo mfam mo fam bobɔ nti yɛsɛ last 7 days lawyer will work us through no yɛduru hɔ a enti ɔmo san wie yɛ no ɛna ɔmo ka kyerɛ electoral commission sɛ on halt ɛyɛ preparation bi ɔyɛ bia baabi a mo aboa mo ho akɔ akɔduru bia ɛyɛ electoral commission mo halt ceasefire ai munjira mamo koye rerun bia bronya busumi ne de toso aduasa no mo bia koye bibia friend rerun na momu no asebdo ye tua hyeda asema ye tua hyeda no ye de ko eye January ano ya papa won bosome a edikan ewo afia ye besimu no ye de ko ne de toso du miensa enti obo kire se obo de ko January 13th 2026 asema and the Supreme Court eka ye no enti the 5-member panel no omo to asem da hyeda se January 13th 2026 sa and omo satna asem no so NDC for the no omo so omo nti obi a case omo de omo ahyase ye campaign wo Pandai ho seriously and ye sika omo de apie mu ho say say akwati ade na 38 million we de tete yadam ne tete allegedly yes 45 million. And over the choir campaign. Yeah, no. Allegedly. So Akwatia Diado ended up with 38 million. Where the Amatu. It's over the almost your campaign. She say court to see at the end easy and halt. The answer January 13th, 2026. But since what does it mean? Matthew Yindam, the fate of Matthew Yindam, and I Yindam Aldo and Oye MP for Pandai. A bisa say it is here a day nature. Brashebi Jeffy almost say you declare the seat no vacant. See say ya court no see easy and China. Obesa ba Brashebi Jeffy bio ana. Me who say Habib Idrisu, minority chief whip. Then Sema Oka, and it's a speaker of parliament. Ensa Enfano Emra. Unrestated, ya kind of podcast ebusa. Enti enono sa ena akwa wie na medimsa processes no de me ba be court line so briefly na me de a year deputy general secretary for the NPP a year Alhaji Haruna yene no entwetwe nkomo Deputy General Secretary Haruna Muhammad yene no etwetwe nkomo na empo yahwe sane ensebno kura na sane omo ehu asebno ewo soro enti bin cross over the benko Haruna enchei Haruna Muhammad ene ewie yamawa ha emawa kwaba yejumadi so Muhammad. Okay, let's see. Say Bia Haruna ete menka ewo fidieno eswa ya na maadi epese e play tricks ewo meso enti yenhwe se yebetumi asa ko eye Haruna Muhammad enche Haruna bepacho bema wa ha ema wa kwa ba jubedi so wote menka de okay yebekwa dimna yahwe yensaka a deputy general secretary for the NPP na yasa endeno atwetwe nkomo ebio balaya bema wakwaba jubedie so lawyer hoye de nyame adom me hoye pa lawyer hoye nyame adom me hoye pa okay yeta nyame as it's another week yes another week na lawyer and they not to say then broya brusumi ya say the broya boba as you say Ghana de 71 billion and yes ayo within 9 months in 9 months I say abai abokan 71 billion and I met na me amache me kra and easy within 1 month yeah and then and then come one some P be a come bisa o de be beko kakrem major one year be Bloomberg the other day amanfo aka bia nti ede no ye me pese bi wura mu no one shana yentumi ewura dum but breba mu dia you be in about that last week by na me say lawyer wa haka yeah but nonetheless and some ho ye be hwekwan dai e de no and what it means a breba ma ba kwa na nka be person ke no so me hwe as you say G-Tech for a can be for lawyer for and say it's good it's good okay. To me who information manager kakra what about mami we na me reason yeah very good okay and deputy general secretary of the NPP Haruna Muhammad mesa meba wa ha ema akwaba yejumadi so hello Haruna.
Hello.
Yeah, after metonka. Haruna na me ma wakwa ba batene de entia ya woso wa homa nyina ene Supreme Court etnase na NPP case or the court Supreme Court no they say no Supreme Court akasaba case no yetu asheda se yɛbɛsa atoa so ɛyɛ 13th January. You be the Deputy General Secretary. Yembisa party no saying any efa assembly.
Medase na nichia obi biara ohwe anase otie WONTUMI TV seseya na me as Deputy General Secretary na mejinama Lawyer Justin Kodia Frimpong na me wo Supreme Court Dino Nkansah na everybody na me wo ho omufra case bebree na munyina munim se panda elections in iwie ye no na NDC for say omudi panda elections no as a petition before the High Court na omudi call ye no na yetimi ahun se kwan ya omudi call High Court no na amfa mra kwan so anase bibia mra no kire se omumfa nko no anase time so omumfa nko no na that particular time no na abroso na the initial stage na omudi case no your lawyers no akasa afa ho na judge no anti ase enti ekowie ye no na judge no say case na omudi buy no omunkorira no the entire 152 polling stations and omudi 41 ekoye na omuye ruling no and the director of legal ebisaye say na ebadan enti ohwe docket no ohwe ye no pe na say dey bi we na omuye no na petition no law no say 21 days and omudi case no court no ukohwe PNDC law 284 specifically section 18(1) to 2 no it say na elections ewie ya na one tiase ya na say unim say bibia from na upese ukokota na say omo gazette the notification no 21 days say ubetimi akọ and omudi omo case no ekoye in 32 days after declaration no na we ni kire say emra na eda ho no omanfa emra no enye djuma enti party no eka say with regards to the ruling of the justice of the High Court no yate but yam peneso enti yeko appeal enti ye tro krata ekoma appeals court say ya appeal the decision of the High Court and ye tro krata so say ye stay execution before the High Court judge in Tamale enti December 10 for na ye koshia ye argue ye legal cases na and a judge no say obe determine the case and as Obama rulings on the 18th. Now on the 1st of December so and your council file judicial review and I say in order of certiorari and the Supreme Court for determination say question the decision of the High Court because now time no the petition no call it was not on time. Lawyers no say it was out of time. And the Supreme Court, Asha say, di Kasana on the 16th, that is today. And yema service to the Clerk of Parliament, yema service to the second interested party electoral commission, and yema service to all the other interested parties except Nsala, which is Waka, the NDC candidate, no omudini ACACA. Enti yahunu entu nenu eba court no yaka say Supreme Court should take a supervisory rule say that is what is enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and the Supreme Court first say yentra the HSA or more cost yes service na omo antimi anya no ye lawyer no HRA and the Supreme Court finding the grounds for a substituted service and the Supreme Court can say yenko anasa service no enko ne fie ewo pandai yema ne fie address omo say enko ne fie pandai emfa nkotare ho ena yenko Supreme Court notice board na yemfa nto so yemfa nto High Court notice board in Tamale any the circuit court in Pandai omo say yemfa nto ho ena WhatsApp line so omo say yemfa service no mano. After 7 days of this particular execution, he has been properly served, and the Supreme Court has moved that on the 13th of January, lay the argument on the issue of certiorari. Now, we on the 10th, on Monday last week, no, na electoral commission so at the SAPA ebaye. SAPA no HSA 30th of December no yankoya rerun. Na yetro supplementary affidavit Emma Supreme Court. And in nine Supreme Court omu try no omu see yes the supplementary application no omu granted and the suspension on the elections on the 30th no the Supreme Court adjudged say that particular elections no omu suspended. They should suspend until all the matters relative to the Supreme Court decision on Pandai rerun should be determined. And all the decisions in the Supreme Court on that particular matter no exhaust here and young exhaust elections no. And the elections in the 30th and new biome in Pandai. It is rest in the hands of the Supreme Court and the suspension. Now, anything I can say, we are very grateful to the court, but the court should always uphold the rule of law. And on the 30th, and the NDC be ready and MPP be ready. Now the Ejina Sonia on the 11th of June, Omuma civil ruling in the Supreme Court on the same matter because Uko had the Gazette notification NDC Edibaye on the Akotia issue. No, the Supreme Court ruling yes the only Gazette notification certify the Ghana Publishing Company Edibaye. That is the Assembly Press, and it was gazetted on the 24th of December. So 24th December, Ube file a petition, then by 13th of January, Ube Tiyawi, and but NDC file petition on the 25th of January. It is 32 days over, and the determination no echo Supreme Court. Now on the 13th, no, yaba advance your legal argument, and the Supreme Court ebechoso.
Okay, Medase Haruna, but what can I say? Watch the Yemuno a year MP for a year Pandai Matthew Yindam. The fate to say Dana party no ya na sempo benka minority no Nkansah no more being put to use that more bay and as he say bubetu na say the future for Matthew Yindam.
On the instructions of the General Secretary, my proceeding to Parliament, my leadership no ya didn't come up, and our leadership no our initiative process or speaker any the other side of the house no and Parliament ejuma afaso because the letter of Parliament echo to the speaker to the electoral commission for declaration no Supreme Court actually said even though say omwachura amomuno there is a suspension in the application of that particular order. And say it was a court order that gave them the authority. The same court order no aba and the Parliament of Ghana must review. Say letter no omube sure say letter no omwa yafrim. And the minority in Parliament omwa shase and omuye jumabi paso. Sisi adia mintimi nkase omwa wi anasa omu wi but the minority is working on that particular instance. Now the Amibeka paso no say so when you say your core member of Parliament Martin Yindam, he is still the member of Parliament. Access to Parliament no na because if the court say the court rules say the election of Martin Yindam should stand and I said the court quashed the decision of the High Court. Say Martin Yindam, they will not swear him in as member of Parliament again because we'll call back to Parliament. Etiel said he's not a new member of Parliament and I said and say power no accord. So we require the procedure in Parliament because say Martin Yindam is clearly reinstated as per the directive of the court.
Where the one your Deputy General Secretary Ebianko Beka say for lawyers, but as the Deputy General Secretary, me also already ebi tugum say I court no yes was suspended and as electoral commission and suspended elections no for a year 30th no but when stated specifically say ebia Matthew Yindam dear one kumu anko can say ebi obo a friend and answer bibisa. Are you able to answer what do you want to say obo ekasa?
The Amibeka say Parliament acted on a court order. Court order no was not to Parliament. The court order was a judgment. and the parliament acted on the court order. So the court decision for today, that particular decision no back parliament on the same orders from the court. Then the parliament will act, say, electoral commission, every timia is a particular character no Ephraim. But before say, the Supreme Court has already directed, say, the electoral commission should not proceed. And the letter from parliament on electoral commission question proceed, but a letter from Supreme Court said that proceed. The letter from parliament is now because the Supreme Court has dismissed that because act on the orders of parliament's letter. So declare the seat vacant. And once Supreme Court directive say that our particular elections are suspended until the substantive matter is being determined. It say the law must be the law. And the parliament must act decisively to make sure say Martin Mindam is given the right of representation and the people of Pandai say omunye the right of representation.
Mate Haruna Mohammed ene area yebeda wase ene wadaji. Why?
Me da obi biara se and I want to meet you so.
Okay, yame inshro. Yeah, that's it. Yo Ashafo Bopani ene no twetwe nkomo the Deputy General Secretary for the New Patriotic Party NPP Alhaji Haruna Mohammed ene no twetwe nkomo no na ye twetwe nkomo afa Pandai rerun no eho na wachiri mu as the Deputy General Secretary. Lawyer Evan Sosebus ewa hasane makachira on the sansu na Honorable Andrews Bediako, former MCE for German South, and so at Nasi. Enti yabatu ankomo so yabatu na yakoye dibida yashapandai there and many others. Ba konso eno so no na ebi Nkansah they found it laughable. Etiwa East Galamsey issue, say MC, jailing 8 days and now 12,000. I fear Koya say why just a back and forth to be Abibem Galamsey issue, and we be want to say a bino and yes serious about fighting Galamsey. Tiana who is CSOs be almost say with immediate effect. Kebeya the president and Yabre Padia nka Etiwa East MC on channel free akoyano so na bete Franka Dr. Why Franka or regional minister yes you to Galamsey or to the MC A to be na MCA jailina is a jailino 8 days after 8 days no crana and ya untia fine here as a 12,000 boy CSOs no any abrepa say Galamsey no there we there nyeze when yabre we there as agrubi na money 80 it's president be ya foundation for the who be do something President Muhammad do something the who say yes when ni abre but quickly yan call a year and some aron lawyer besame ma kwa
ejoso ankeke
mamema honorable Andrew so akwaba na afi honorable Mema akwaba
keke ya Josu bru
ena pani bi o si ya beka se o na empo o si bimbisa se ya na bimbisa o ho te sei na o si ya beka ne sei na o ho ye de
o ta kansa
iti o si bimbisa o ho te sei
iti na ya me se amanfo se ye ho ye
oh I'll get the name for enti o ho ye amanfo se
nyamena dom amanfo se ye ho ye ye ho ye pa
ye dayamias
nyameni ye diriye
ye dayamias
roja na eba nti afinshi apa in advance say ye ba ye hu se o studio say we see the flowers e twa ha she say we are there ebra ye pia bontina na hu say adede bread so enti ye mo bibia afinshi apa
poyando bese ye bronya ba ku nine ai opposition de bronya ba
ku de yebedi sisi
ba ku de yebedi
na ye no free wana jesa
kamiensa
nyankopon na ode etwa apokoko no ode yembetwa ha ntibele me free se eye de nyankopon beka bi eye se e ba se amagana fo ahunu ne ma na ho se omo ana omo ti opposition omo free se MPP aban Akufo-Addo na ni time den enti o man bibi a na ode kwa na nkofo bi fi se bi a emwa no yasesem na yese san kofa 24-hour economy aba e buy 24-hour no minimum bi a wo sisi ya sa fi no mo de ba dia some of us we haven't seen it na yese man ka galamse ya wo kan ho ase bi se me am yonko MC na yese waje aboso wa tiwa east ono ye ho na Abraham say asare ono former
tiwa finance minister deputy finance minister yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And your regional minister, Ashanti regional minister. So
no, I Mensade and Nine.
Money for Yando say, yeah, court nest or so Budia.
Santinia, Budia, and could we stay time?
So Budia, who say, I deny a carry, no crown, I say no crown. That is just by the way. Kiki, Yahoye, Yabedi, I say, a crown in ma.
Mate, Medas, Papa, Balaya. Now, Abia on the sidelines, maybe a G Tech for the other. But no, now we do Gusua Walker. Many can be a brief on that stuff. You have Bandai.
Yeah,
issues no. G Tech be a more would name a year, baby, Ura Abdullah Jinapo, a one. Na omo enana say almost will be a doctor obi nya doctor wo nya doctor o doctor do ye fake any ho kro ne ba sa yi body almost say almost so lawyers no almost so lawyer fo bi kra no mo kra mo nkra e degree any afrable lawyers enti every next year no mo bebo awrap na just almost triple lawyers be naked who lawyers be almost reactors ehwe na deba asem almost keka no lawyer ben do betumi aba be ye lawyer on credit degree na me hu anya krado ye Kwaku aza me hu the write up be or no making reference to a year 1971 say emre da ho since 1971 actually say before say obey lawyer no say unya degree from by the General Legal Council na so credit degree from an accredited university or tertiary and so about the GTech for cano crowd on Tiasi. If I know now, second, your no position, they say, adding, and I'm over idea, must a free 2026. Adding a more activities here. But briefly on that, what they also say, what's the other part?
Yeah, the cake, the mammy cancer, and say, in fact, Nanko Mujumedi no cry, Minya Nanka, first of all, my mini cancer doctor for Isapo. Why na me nsra kwatente man na machia be krom hene na asenso kofo abebio ne hema na afratala me chia mo na nsra kwatente mfa me yamfum so sa o chia krom hene before ansa na wachia doctor for isapo ni die kwan so the man me kase GTech for jumadi omo ye no eye but said there was so musitire mu no enye eno sa na omo ka because basically say obi beba be ye lawyer o said the first requirement say ukuta first degree ana yede SSS for enso ekobi like make us a requirement a Ghana School of Law e de foul ma obde lawyer no aye Ghana School of Law Makola Kumasi campus ene sa Legon campus near there. The only thing I was say unya no basic year was unya a first degree from an accredited university into the first degree, but first degree no I was say yeah Bachelor of Laws. That means that also what first degree emeremu law why first degree so requirements near Bachelor of Laws. It could be second class, it could be third class, it could be you see Ghana School of Law there and once ukuta first degree Bachelor of Laws or LLB na watch your entrance exams now qualifying kwadia then ombejo ya could train you now unti once a law profession uhwemu your pupillage your academic and your professional and your pupillage into academic no say ubedi kan your first degree which is Bachelor of Laws into be first degree in fear 9 na wawie into so ohwa me say ya na me di kan kuta degree that I will Legon University of Ghana Bachelor of Arts Geography and Resource Development medical in the University of Ghana no makwawie but abra me be law no me san be start BM from first year and so san be Bachelor of Laws sa working at UST and so in fear 9 ebiem and the ba sense me kuta degree me no at the Legon there na Geography and Resource Development no ana de law me benya na Bachelor of Laws a LLB and then your friend LLB no first no na just say ukuta first degree and sane am law. That means that just where the carry degree or university be accredited university and sakura na law ni am wakoye but an idea and sane am wakoye bachelor of laws no but an idea so BBSS cry na the results near bear 6 and 7 obetimi akwakoye bachelor of laws na ye LLB no ewo KNUST and Lagos and now any accredited university but so started LLB na interest or lawyer and a bachelor of laws who did kind of first degree in this first degree no na Ghana Law School at the EBFAO which entrance exams now pass here into our first degree now what can win or bachelor of laws no and not the FAO and sana we could train you as a lawyer. But what they mean to say into basic requirement will be a so nyane say ubenya bachelor of laws I have first degree a say a yembra and wa question to asua emra mfie 9 and 9 mfie miensa and sana Ghana School of Law afao but the problem ne say ade ananka mpesa omo tremu ne say empo senkomo otumi a ombetimi de atremu am ye hunu say enipa ye owura courtroom o ye lawyer na onye lawyer because the problem is o kokota ye wege na wo hye no arobi na obebo na oni ama nyina abokum ba se obi wuram ebe ye lawyer enye bia ye wo ba na ebetimi ahun say nipa we de na say ye produce lawyers ne ba bebre so the point is in the courtroom no how na judge ne betimi assess ahun say we or your lawyer and think I be make case obey make where you be na say application be na bibi etesa before abekasa no na nko say wo license number kora tudwa emi ehun say uguta license answer ndu nse medical actually say udi Kenya bachelor of laws no every be a Kenya University Lagos and any accredited university afina na obekọ Ghana Law School and also bachelor entrance exams answer and the honor academic no udi Kenya no to ba Ghana Law School so no mo so be train mfie mienu aso say mfie mienu ne de ya kana saa na nso obitimi de mfie 9 obitimi de mfie mensa na hono na ye professional law school na so be professional no and we are ansa no asa be serve wo lawyer bi na law firm bi ase eno na your friend pupillage and we pupillage na ansa na yakolo why when your license to practice as a lawyer
okay
and ba bi o mo peso mu ra ne say o ma adwene ne say obi wo hono ma we nya sa first degree na kire bachelor of laws no na ode kwaye ode aba beye ode ko Ghana School of Law sa no mpese o mo kire but Ghana School of Law so before be fa no this okuta bachelor of laws so uni bachelor of laws no ma onye opa akoye course bia na ye degree wo course bia on fa but e bia no manya information say e bia obi aba law profession ni mu a na onkuta bachelor of laws no na e bia ode ni degree bia o ye na o ba bi e bia accounting na say e bia okoye geography bi no okuta degree na ode nya akwanya de ba Ghana School of Law because e bia asem na ehu e bia na obi etesa me matene nkomodiem saa na obi kan bibi saa
ba said ye me ken kan ye no 1971 a year na Kwaku kan it's in black and white
yes
enti e ba ya won so obi betumi awura mu aba ba ye
on say you should be by me bi no mo kan ho asem time na ye Ghana School of Law director ba kon na omo say wa fa nipa bi wo kan university no mo kan lawyer the oma one of the senior lawyer yes ne ebinum o kire se ebinum kura nya e degree bi di kai ko wura mu kwaye law aba professional law school a minim I stand to be corrected ente bia no na ama ahye wo mo se na ne yema hwehwe mu se obi abaye lawyer abra wanya bachelor of laws na ansa na otimi akoye professional law course no abaye lawyer na eno no but ba bia ese hia wo se anka ye tiremu ne se wura courtroom a e wo se ehun se ampa ukuta license na wo ye lawyer ampa because wo kai se Kenya obi wura mu a odi AI study say dey see cases afi dey no dey lawyer for cry reform any judge for the any bias na say law school kronko obi da enso ru bia bebu sane bia na otimika so point no enti ebinum betimi awuram aba abra woni license na wonum say wo wie law no kra no na ye lawyer ye call to the bar oba court a wontimi nye case because amra no need license to practice because you people ni we are and sana our license number na ye den aba and san what me practice into be gina mu so ye case am obi a lawyer bia hu a obetia o setna se uni license ntia ma on kasa o courtroom so court no ma audience kasa and did you my dear no mo be ne de eye nanso se degree a man for the acquire law no mo pede any omu nya nipa bebre sa because the minimum ne say lawyer for ne de the minimum say omu nyina the first degree na ye bachelor of laws na ansana na obi wa okuta degree ne bebre ansana na osan be bachelor of laws no ebia no ya accountant or ye way ebia no ya pharmacist nsa na osan be law
mate better say these are the thoughts of a year lawyer Evans or say Bonsu na quickly ye be substantive pandai the other maje wa dwench na make say eye honorable Andrews Bediako enso ewa ha nti akire beba de nchai na ye rag pandai dim na me no ya wi a ba ko a enenso no ebia ye be hwe na ya dwenje ho ebrebebema menhwe ebrebebema eye petitioner Daniel Oforimafo a true petition come President John Dramani Mahama efa eye Justice Yoni Kulendi ehuno say undeserve say obey justice and as ebia Chief Justice no Justice of the Supreme Court President Mahama mashadidum omuhwe mu wie no omusi omu ehu bibi prima facie yibia wo munti ade no chese mu ha wasama eye secretary Callistus Mahama 4th December wa chro krata ade akwakon zebra abraje pebe bitina na bush yogubo na ukase de mu ha ye drew on the lawyer ebe chire yebu ebi si o na say sa ade na ebe ba na why ebi si expected enti etu de awie we pepper
enti Nkansah petition
yeah shop pandai pandai
and ya ni gisem kese ma the good people of Pandai ana nyina dam that is honorable nyindam Matthew you see severally maka said
the original so our cancer ade do na days no I think said one Gary
the court no for sexual right no because me can say o share CI 127 na regulation 18 no to 26 na aka ho asem say the mandatory requirement a obetimi de akọ ese o challenge parliamentary election be within 21 days after the EC now a gazette while publishing BB on a website and it's supposed to be an accurate website a recognized website EC needed to and someone say within 21 days no court a papa is court in a 34 days and at that time the court lacks what jurisdiction as obeti matanaso etina maka say jurisdiction is very fundamental in law. Enti so be like a jurisdiction no otana there so uni to me uni capacity and your friend a local standard to me now all day ban to me so otana do you have the capacity, do you have the local standard enti say local standard there wait ma atana asem no so enti court to be like a capacity a that is a capacity no ntimi mfa atana asem no so court na kan timi versus ama baby. So timi versus sama baby court ne can say obi lack capacity is very fundamental and it is all lack capacity a untimi ntana asem so that means that obetima hwa di asem na enipa ne pa on challenge o capacity no obetima hwa me di asem na we ya no raise issue on capacity and capacity can be raised at any time any day into opekra ya di asem na we no da ba se na uni capacity na otana so et say we fiti prekope na di asem okọ what they call an animal champion, if it yana wako tune for Hona, was what they are smart on administrative wise, no, or say to two, Nana or say to two, or Asante Hine, or ye or take a course or Kurura, Nana Miss Rowan idiot ebo Nkansah. Oh, who say, Washisha hierarchy, ever hon to back on him, be a basi suman, kind of subesi was Nas Indiana, the corner name direct. What I sent 250, now there are some no call Otum for direct, Kayabo as them no good because at that time, no. Or no any capacity because at that time or the almost some or the ocean way there was what they call baby before Kransana I be doing so administrative wise no court no cran any capacity to set because at that time requirements no any panel meeting and then your friend no condition precedent and the condition precedent certain conditions must be fulfilled before answer no wetimi aba and the condition na court no the amount say within 21 days after same has been published or gazetted and some what me about and untina or call Supreme Court to issue certiorari. In fact, I listen to some of the lawyers or say when issue be border on constitutional matters the clock you don't need to stop the clock and the clock must continue to work very well, but this does not border on interpretation of any provision in the 1992 Constitution. The position of the law is very clear when it comes to parliamentary elections and its challenge under Article 99, Clause 1 and 2. There are clear parliamentary elections. Supreme Court also decided that say where there is overvoting, that is irregularities, voting without biometric verification, irregularities, no. Obi a casting a vote, validly casted vote, no, and you can say nullify, no. That means that
wait, in the Okani 2012,
2012,
because
Chachikata, yes,
a court,
that is so,
court,
and 2012, no, NPP, that is Nana Dodan Kwaku and others versus John Dramani Mahama and others. Court to state the position of the law clearly. What I say, I say, maybe overvoting, voting without biometric verification, irregularities are happening in Ano. Yentimin can say because of that, it had nullify the entire results. It was said. Ubia to vote into status could be a yedi can define a dear dear money be a maintain no answer. Wait dear and your hokrani echo any panini capacity to come to court. Now was I declare and in the case say any panel petition and now back court and they are not here only 41 polling stations. Maybe I'm no problem no 41 polling stations. And those 41 polling stations no who irregularities. And irregularities have been voting without biometric verification, over voting, and others. They are more practices. Fine, so 41 polling stations. What is the total number of the people at about 41 polling stations? And it's those 41 polling stations. No, so free 3,700 honorable MPP ninya ya. Ebetimi change results nana. The answer is big no. Intimate change resource. Then why should you call for a rerun of the entire constituency? That means that you see, if you read 1979 Judge B book or say the judge 1970 or say when the judge leaves the law, he knows the law, but he leaves the law and gives his own decision. He will subject himself to criticism. What I say, where a judge, say, or where an enactment has prescribed a procedure, that procedure ought to be followed. And the emphasis is enactment to be caught on a can of war. Boyfie versus NTAC Properties Limited. I think 2016 thereabout. Court said where an enactment prescribed a procedure, that procedure ought to be followed. What is the procedure? The prescribed procedure enacted by law. I was said govern parliamentary elections within 21 days. Regulation 18. CI 127 regulation 18 copy 26 within 21 days and I was back out na be challenge where there you've exceeded that limit I'm na 34 days after no akoko and the court no or lack jurisdiction by what me atana asem to say medi and the court lacks local standard, the court lacks that capacity, the court lacks that jurisdiction to set on the matter. And I said that Timi versus Ama Baby, if you lack jurisdiction, you cannot entertain the matter. In the first place, then we invoke jurisdiction of the court because court need to maintain because we need to mean so trans. That is why you will case at the district court, you will case at the circuit court, and you will case at the high court, and you will case at the Supreme Court. And to confess Supreme Court case the court district court no court or lack jurisdiction. So I point into the point I say I can say Supreme Court and Nasimo Makan Nkansah sem no dia bana me bo ma baso. Ya dia mo fuma e be criticize them Supreme Court. No matter what mo society e cry beba. But the point is say mo fum enko ade e be ka be na me bo Supreme Court abaso. The reason being that say o mama asumdue aba pandai. O mama uncertainty I wo nyina any panic ne suspension suspense nipa ko nyina no. O mama asumdue aye den etimia asi e wo pandai. Because the point is Sasa shurara no any panishu no one say parliament mum aka electoral commission say onkonkoto aba na nanka Supreme Court nanka obetena sa shurara ni so but the point is Irene Makun say yen serve obi enti yen serve obi na opre homa sa shurara no okotena so a obetena so be wie omo be ka cho say order 7 of CI 47 yan serve a high court rule na make also serve obi and services so and also actually say principle of odi otaram patem rule the principle of fair hearing that is one fa pepepe ye any say nipa no one serve no a ana NDC member of parliament no why smart baby o mo pena serve ni bi oya no wadwane
yeah no wadwane
baby o mo pena serve ni bi oya no wadwane what is the rationale behind it. I do not often say it was actually malice. Brony because I don't want it. Bad faith. Bad faith in say, me was idea where I'm over 7 me mon 7 because 7 me I want to made for. It made journey service. So he was trying to evade service. Into law musanya kind the person is what evading service. Into evading service lawyer Nima pa. There was a way and say filing motion for substituted service supported with an affidavit. Into filing motion ragari ni wako. Mami mwana so senior. Into legal team no boy juma hopa ragari ni wako. I'm telling you. Or yeah, dear MPP pa. Into filing motion for substituted service. That means that minya kwane 7 no. A motion as party. As party is different from motion on notice. Motion on notice no. HSM me bebo nka say me dey adisredi bi to court na bra na o wa no ya fabra no motion on notice. But so ko no motion as party dey na say no mo bi amane enipa no me hwehwe na minya no me 7 na minya no enti moma me kwan na me 7 no through WhatsApp. Moma me kwan na me 7 no through ebi a notice board the Supreme Court and me fan ko daily graphic. Moma me kwan na me 7 no ni emfa kotetare ni fie ho. Moma me kwan na me fa o kan Oslawusu versus Kwame A+. That case na court na chese obetima 7 nipa through WhatsApp. Oslawusu versus Kwame A+. Court na say obetima 7 no through WhatsApp. Enti Supreme Court na can say WhatsApp obetimi asebo obi. Enti
we obunim the number obetumi
the alpha so. Enti what is her motion ya ka say motion ya desrede. Motion for substituted service enti why say minyane nsabe because who try who make it 3 attempts. Na say wunya nipa na 7 ansa na motion for substituted service. Missy obi na efie no nipa na.
And you say no last 7 days.
7 to 14 days.
Okay, 7 to 14.
It depends upon the quarter.
Okay, but then maybe
to be on my order no the be ma 7 days.
Okay,
within 7 days.
Okay, within 7 days.
7 to 14 days court no betimi amount. Order no mu bia say within 7 days fire adjuma, within 14 days fire adjuma no. But automatically it lasted for 7 to 14 days. And the point is how within that time no na was how koye sa service no. Into your service no ama where we were juma ya court to then and one say court na sha say cancer let us say ya bon kai no ama court no respected the principle of fair hearing pepe ye say ubo we kai no abo we kai nti on ambush obi so the court wants to avoid ambush litigation said they won't mean for obi achi no abeje judgment and the service is important I was serve obi it is only when what serve obi na watima evoke the jurisdiction of the court what you say and that non basa service na ya adwuma na e basa be ma court na timi atana se aka na asem and the service is very important. I bring it the main purpose idea service na the principle of what or the alteram partem rule principle of what fair hearing court ne can be Barclays Bank Ghana Limited versus Ghana Cables. At this service here, so Barclays Bank Ghana Limited versus Ghana Cables. Service is very important. In terms of several pano. A man in second kratano, no subeyi nano. There's a nipane tries to udane dia no ako motion for substituted service. Nami ye case me fakit webi nami ye case no Western North for baby. Miss Abu ya or say or back to us in Yamina de Aname. Miss Abu or if you na yes in Yamia. Miss Abu ya see where Yamia or back to no abedina. And where then was a nature or patch as a Savunipa. And did a mere answer after they make call say make a servo contractor usidano. Contractor no me call a wama or OEVD service. I don't make call motion for substituted service. And your mom is a man from Cotetare, mediatare. And the contractor now ma dia natural say afi obi so buy obi say na ohene na esi ohene so awu afi me ko serve the regent of the stool continue ohene ni wa na hwe na me ko serve no so anye wadoje e na masa ye motion for substituted service enti no so substituted service me de ko teta continue himfie oni ba bia wa ama afi me nipa no e dan na wusie no me gi ni fie na me gi ne dan na me de na ade ama nti court no bebu ama no obu ama ni wi a na afi makoye entry of judgment me entry of judgment do be say police for na soldier for kuratu na dan bulldozers e budan ni nyina egu sa dan na be say be ma okurum ha enti service ndo betima evedi enti na Supreme Court aya ade a asombo na de asomdwa and that order no the moment a order no aba no eye court na ma order na ansana parliament edi so na parliament na say order ne ho so order ne ho a on ne ho 700% that because we read the case of Asare versus Attorney General Asare versus Attorney General. Court na said the 3 arms of government are separated from one another in terms of functions and rule. However, court ne can say separateness no does not mean there is a take war separating the 3 arms of government. there is no take war. Obi ankoto offense war mfancheche the arms of government ni munchire say judiciary ni parliament ni hwahwani. There is no take war separating them, but the court ni can say separateness with reciprocity and interdependence. Pachotia hayo Asare versus Attorney General. The court ni can say although the three arms of government are separated from one another in terms of functions and rule, however that separateness no and the total separateness, I just said there is a take war separating the three arms of government.
Okay.
But that take war, no, anyhow, it means that there is that kind of what interdependence and reciprocity. Until you depend on reciprocity. Until the we can someone now someone I was say with this one, as I say with this one. So it means that reciprocity nature say cooperate with the other arm of government. To one arm of government as I catch say yinjai election na ye kono say de asumdwe beba ne mfa nkɔhye 13 so de ne decision beba ansana say bibi wo ho say betumpo a yakɔ. And there was a parliament and sa reciprocity no eye adwuma no cooperate with the other arm of government.
Mate maybe be okra na bia ye better of what's the fate of a year Matthew Yinda. But lawyer spoken at length men call a year Honorable Andrews Bedia Conso and Honorable and a 5-member panel of a year Supreme Court.
Unanimous decision. Omo
Akasa.
Yabafa konsona yadawasi. Na yachia abusuanfo mo hwe enkanka jama saatufo nyina keke onim se basi na manka baomi asema enye yiwo.
Oh yes, no dear, it is allowed.
Ehia pa lawyer dey say ye dey mbagu atono so nka bi unya ya buzi se ye beto abanani ha fi ni wa be campaign lawyer dey mbagu atono so keke akabe se
honorable ubreni enti mintie na beba time na mintie
ye kai ye na ye bekọ akoto aba 31st January 2026 ni say Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia eda so gina kum ya ye nyina ye nim say ya gi atum say party for no bebi ya nantene de omo kan nyina ne say say Bawumia ene ye de ne ba na ofata nso fi say akuma ye de agent sem tum ene de ye betumi aboa ma ye party akonanim sema nkofo aka fa ne ho bia wonte se wabo wakrada ebia obi oba bia o defend na asa o ka bi ma no ebia sema o kana akotia obi ne de kan beto no ankasa as Mahmoud Bawumia o ye ne kampa o mo obi akradin beto no ni din no de ba bia ye se o di mpa ene ebo o di nso ane ebo ena odom so anisa de o so ntakrache no eso Bawumia enti ya na yimu bi de enye enwanwa enti ye na ya adwen se ye be kan nsem bebre e de agu papa ye ho fi ene nsem a ese ye kai se primaries no we ye dan a obenwene onwene a we have to come together as a political party na nsem a wo kan na Bawumia ye weak Bawumia ye failure Bawumia ye this no how do you correct some of these things after the primaries e ba sa wo nye honest politician because nipa wo kan sa nsem we nyina wo other social media ne platform ahoro so a wo kan fa ne ho ne de ka ho no on kasa but enche the next 2 months na wo sa nipa kure ya wo san baba because sa nsem na wo kan fa papa no ho enye no kra I mean what do you expect there na office enkrofo ese o mo je otum the same thing e wo other aspirants no enti ye nyina ye hwese ensem a ye ka no e be ma yakoma abafom free say ye the emotions nkwa ye politics na emwai ye fu ba akum na efiri na me sure I'm highly convinced say Bawumia win no de wa win ewi na mu no vote difference no na ye pese ye pagya mu kwa animu we say obu obi na ofa obu ni yi a o kina o front kwa ya na ohwe ho yi but as wantumi ambu ni yi na say aye bibia ho a ya na ofi say ono call the next one a obetumi say mo call boxing we say nipa no 13 14 15 4 ofi say adena ka wanwan bi nti o kina mesan free rematch a metumi ne na akọ enti ye say yetumi ma ntokwa no efunu nkrofo na obokwa na omahu say adeno ba bi edure no oba ma wie no ensem ba akomienu bi a efiri nura besi na ye party ye jabam papa ay jabam o hwe former domekwa be MP adwa sara ensema safo de watoto agum kene Japan to tubi agum and then so Brian so to tubi agum but correction ba ko pebi na mpese me you see Brian obi a me penasem papa me ko say that better me ka say mpese otwa kene Japan na ko nya second position no but the oil ma we draw sa support you see what can say be ya correct sa ansem na bet we repeating ne o se Bawumia anwene zongos na wo Ghana ni nyina ba ko pe na onwene ye na sese no ma changing narratives say why nye smart ya uhu de all kind sese ya say Bawumia about 3,000 zongo communities tie how you offer this are we smart or say zongo communities but communities no polling stations SCC communities enti yankoto community elections yaka so ye to ne house by house of what they making because zongo no kwana say zongo no ha yento elections no house by house no waka say zongo community and about me lusu a polling station because community polling station or community no and a polling station ye to abano yento ne house by house until the all can say we're moving from polling station to zongo communities but nyasakwai we get there a polling station okay what dem again enti polling station no anybody who tells you say just a winnie bankwana Bawumia it's a lie ya more evidence ukwa electoral commissioner ya more data actually say answer no even abetifi no a ya papa Brachampo ye MP Bawumia won the polling station ya zongo enti other mischief anase bia yemfa kwambi so politics as usual na yemfa yesi Bawumia ye obi a olusu zongo obi a yesi oye zongo ni okofa zongo for votes aba okwa wamfa amba it's a lie Bawumia ye betu senya brand ekwa metumi abo zongo more than 100 and over ya Bawumia wene across the country and this one hwe ni ye na wan hwe ade ye na so community zongo community but there is nowhere because oba bunu regional ye wo sunwan zongo wo sunwan be no nche se nipa na omo sunwan zongo ho nyina na omo nyina ye zongo fo because baby e hye no ntino there are other people who are into who say polling station be zongo community even a Christopher to about enti wa kofa community no as say ye to about no house by house but ye to about house by house enti yen can say polling stations are omudi kan say Bawumia wini only wini ba polling station no ye kofa data no ba ye chi omu say more than 100 and over zongo communities and polling stations across the country so mo change ni say ye communities asem no mo kan but yen to about no house by house a polling station enti obi a obeka cho say Bawumia antumi anwene for the first time ye party of adetie ni zongos votes no Bawumia move from 30 to 40%. People are not looking at the data from 30 to 40%, but omo kwa rounds catch enkrofo say Bawumia kra ntumi amfa zongo votes amba, which is a lie. Enti mesre Brachampo oyobi a me penasem papa oyobi a owonim de e na nsem aye ka data so oyobi a oye data analysis o onim de hoka aye politics ti e besre sa ni nsem na omo kan wa abonten se Bawumia wani zongo so it's a lie, it is never true. Na on wani aye fence ada area say zongo no so kan ho because ye kan national elections na over one constituency lawyer ya o kan constituency o kan sa what I say enti one constituency yen ka say we et say elect fence MPD no a ye wo manhia ye wo we ni dabi Ghana ni nyina na ye ka bomba ko na no hia Dr. Mantuopoku Prempe o kan sembi wo sunwan of manage papa o say ye ne tribe bi e wo Ghana ye beka say unko obetumi anwene elections e wo Ghana. It is not possible and it's a fact because ye koyi obi a sisi ayete Ashanti region President Kufuor ye presidential candidate no nya Asante fo nko na man ye president you no kwa Asante fo nko ntumi man ye president ye yi Bawumia Mampusi fo nko ntumi man ye president ye yi obi o ye nkran fo nko ntumi man ye president ye yi Japan free central regional Fante fo nko ntumi man ye president Brachampo Eastern region fo nko ntumi man ye president but ye kekani nyina amalgamation abonfo beba Asantefo beba ye wona ye you as a candidate no ansana ye nyina ya kan ho aboma ansana watumi abaye president no enti sa ansam na ye kekan kan ye besere ye nyaka na ebu bi de ya adwen sɛ data no wɔ hɔ a yɛ mma kwa ma wonni ntro yɛbɛkyerɛkyerɛ mu enti deɛ mɛka no sɛ ɛno yɛ public announcement baako a mede bae public announcement
ka ne sɛ ɔka no so baabi wɔ no ma ɛwɔ m sɛ deɛ ɔno abɔ ɔka no yɛ kama but baabi wɔ a sɔm de tum obi te sɛ adwo asafo meka sɛ manage in statement ho a so only the last statement to make here if issue against honorable candidate Japan you don't come publicly and say that say mumusa doctor ora candidate Japan say o we ni na me de me CV beto obema ministerial appointment ana no so interest say obenya ministerial appointment inti and
honorable I'll give you ample time
now was that statement
say okay can
because also candidate so me na family me dey asem ko no so nya na family and friends
family and friends
and what say odon de ni CV ko no ma ebebo no o ma na hwe to be oye na yire dada nti obey campaign ama His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bami so we a clear indication so say nature say there beewakwa waboa honorable candidate Japan that means the honorable candidate Japan what the come public now we say on your family and friends what aban
family and friends kwa yanko hobi
okay but me we have a lawyer for although so the staff vision on all that but minty honorable minty
quickly no me call mafa bantuma constituency
okay
offer asenso wa ya adwuma
asenso de honorable asenso de
Rose minister na wadi no I'm telling you
honorable asenso de no doubt
said the bedi Rose minister na asenso wadi no doubt me say she say area baby any why you mukota esen ko extended ba me krum jama south e ho ha me problem indi asenso waya
now asenso no buy you few months now obey minister ya the kaya emra shanti na
last week me fa kwawu kumawu road yi of I honso kwan do ashanti region ya na amanfo tea se omo anya kwan de bet asenso be asenso nya 2 years ana 3 years
oh ya ka enka ha ye problem of ye roads
enti asenso de metwa ne pusi waya de na masre say aban no modern say Accra Kumasi road kiki na nka ye hwe nka 6 months bia na yetumi de ayi efele portals no for the past almost 1 year ni nothing de mahwe hu ni say mpanfo no nyina omo na wiem tim% ka create portals e wo so ho oh na nka flight no so eto portals ma na nka omo hu ni say the portal nti ye besre say aban no kwa me Abuja mesre wotena opposition ye nimsem a wo kan Accra Kumasi road monte te portals no mai na ye nam form no ye so ye ho try
but true mostly na by air omo koba by nti omo enfili ehu obi kra nim said ye kwan no kra etie
yes omo hunu the same thing Sunya road yi one say free man kan so ko be chem ne ayi no so abaya wotwa mu de ma contract omo aye first class baby na sha ase ye ministry contractor no we obesa ko back akoy but a free fancy e ko man kan so wow keke baby yes nka wache pa 20 minutes no you can spend more than 1 hour na untumi nkoy nti e ho so e besre e free mopa ho baby I'm telling you na sibi kura cars e car ho no amanfo ko fa barakese ene offenso ene akomadan area ho na omko sunyan that is very bad nti e besre say aban no hwe na wonye ne yima of a public announcement amede ba ye ne afa me ba ayi say on say ye wo ayi abusua pani to park first principles of law eno ho nti na me fi say we dey enye sa makọ park so na mabobo awie na obi akofi obi ade ne resource ko one na yiri akori wo ha na ya fro se momra na penalty na referee so ogie no enye ne kwan so nti momra na yensan bo penalty foforo but we dey abesi sa abre we dey meaning say dey gina ho ano no nti abusua pani to park first principles of law no ene dey enye adwuma nti Supreme Court for ebebo mo abaso omo ayade na enye wie ne peye nti omo amufi say ani gie ne de ha yensusu kakra enye wie ne peye na de na ayi deputy general secretary kaya ade ba kwa na me bisa me question say no what is the fate of the MP say osianko back to parliament until say date na Supreme Court aka na beba mu ana I think say o ma cheche ma ye nyina ya te ho ase say na lawyer kan say na who say nipa na ye ne deal na o speaker of parliament no of our 1830 me ebetumi aye mayi say wahwe yi aye wa na gba be na better kan chen say the supreme court kan aye no ono high court
basa gabe ye nwa lower court tamale high court the lower court
we wo krom ha opani ka say supreme court no independent and ono so parliament ye independent of bisi krom ha enti ono de you can yes yes enti ono no oyobi a ye yire nim say ase why repository of knowledge e no te o man mu enti we de besere supreme court no we
but say honorable we de ho be ya nwa say ba ko ya de judge kwese
yes
ebra na Nkansah time majority no cry yes ye yi judge kwese every hon eno no twentwe de na say we de ba ya was a court akasa wom when you never eno no play double standards in the first place but the whole kind so the BS pay back when there but minority the be almost taking steps na
why obi a o ka say ase ono de obeka no ese eno na ye fa na ma obi anka bibiem tintintintin but I don't think say we are say we nipa ba kofo na nyansa wo ni team eno ntina even court na ye ka ho asema na lawyer ke ye wo court no ba bi ye sha ase ense na kwa kudu supreme court free say court no the lower court no say ye magistrate na district court obetumi a but okoduru high court na wa correct no high court betumi a but okoduru appeals court judges no e come yensa ene de ka obetumi a ko mo ntumi a ye ko supreme court at least be 5 or 7 na challenges aba na yetu nti na ye wo institutions na wa obi aye na adwuma nti ye best ebo happen say the supreme court na kan say o de ye adwuma until sector chief no beduru na say eduru kra na say ka say supreme court asem na o kan no na o mo abisa be ka say sa se chudura ya inu agabi gary de ko yi enye adwuma then it becomes a different thing altogether but as it stands now on famra na supreme court aka dey fanya adwuma keke de ka ho ne say won say lawyer ka ho asem ye nwa no man this for movie say they are intelligent to some level na me hwe sa former doctor and now yagine doctor every in semi tanku former
Rashid
former doctor tanku me hwe no na nsama na wo ka no I had to say there omo aheda boapaye bi na omo ye say omo nya omo adwen say omo beje service no because enra de no okay our candidate has not been served he has not received any service our candidate has not been served na me say adwen be na wo team baby a wuti kura na wo ye interview kura betumi di abro o say NDC nye party to the suit which I agree a candidate na ye party to the suit into one SSM no and na wa shada na wa kwose kwandai o yeso duru kwandai a wa kwose akura bi ase wo hwe na ohu no se o mo se kusie bombi na ese o mo ko 2 years na wa kwose enti ofa wo ye de ya nka woni munte se wonim se wo case ya asema ye bedie no wo case obetumi a respond to issues na ya kan say enka okra obetumi aba abonte me woni pass me mo fan ko NDC party me sabeka but we die wodundu ni forms nyina and wa said that so said ye be ya 30th no bedru ntem meanwhile judgment no ba he na wo si parliament actual letter e dia koma electoral commission for na electoral commission for nya act no wo say ko ye fence court e ko file contempt against electoral commission. Why say Woody no one was Woody actually. But we the NTD now my own say and them mum the omoko court na enya de supreme court bet we am judgment because office and sankai. Na me de Nyankopon say supreme court no in their wisdom obviously yenye substitute service against anoka no. Yes.
Omo for substituted service yeah.
Substituted service.
Yeah.
And this is say kusie bom no she kwandai hokra ne nsabeka. Because
yes. No, that one they don't need to. And if one say okoseve no, motion expert no the call na or they akose court no man kwan non seven no through WhatsApp through court through notice board. Oh, you say personal service ni ye free hobium into ono ye mesebo. Into onya de tetare court no nya de court tetare nyina mo friend say NDC ni no your friend say
candidate
sala enti onya de kotetare ne fie abontene no onya de teta court premises no onya de koteta district court or na second court or notice board wa seven no ana o san seven send a process no WhatsApp at the manual to say they was send at wa seven na we enti say no untimi mfa nkwahye ne nsem because ya waive personal service na free ho
mate
ya keke wa hu say de ama ye duru be bi ye duru nyina ye ensema e course ewo high court ewo tamale na wo hwe nsanu mu a yemu bi yenye lawyers of working cancer no bi a sometimes yesu yusu ya adwen kakra wo wodwe ho a wonti ase se obi a wakọ court o se 41 polling station na wo issues wo yen hwe ne yen ka ho asem wo wie ya na wo wakọ make statement say yen kọto aba no nyina foforo enti de sa ye fan say 2013 Supreme Court judgment na ba sa judge wan kan bia na ana wontie case ni bi enti sa wodwe ho a se boapaye o because the thing is keke baby e wo sesi an obi obeye sa na ma bia no wo behu say the next opportunity ba na ye paja na de ko animu hwe animals farm judge on the crown o wi en crown no so voluntary wa retire e na okotra fie but ye number animals farm judgment or the ba yinti ye paja no e de no ko a priest court ne enti we nso na office wo yes ade na ya ye ne den oh but say yes ane ma we nyina na ma confidence na nkrofo wo judiciary mu no ofa na ekofom enu bi na make to pack principles of first principles of law oh e man nkrofo bi hu say what is going on because ye nyina ye hunu say ye last resort no court free say ye nyina nim say ye judiciary ye executive ne legislature ofa ya chichem obi anim ya chichem ya ye ho bibia enye yie but we mu de ye nim say ye pewabo na say ye yi a e ho na okodwantoa enti nkrofobi few people be shemu na omo ye omo adwen say omo de mra be she omo say because they say the law is in the bosom of the church na enu nti omo fa kwam bia so ayesa ade na I don't think say it speaks well for this country enti Supreme Court modi we aba enye nwie de substantive case na nkasa yenya hwe fi say de Gary and MPP for no can say date na abrante no call court na honorable MP no de call court no na twam e na otabri na de call because ye wo evidence wo ha na say ye wo case no bi wo ha amma the same gazette no notification no bi ana ye de die Ernest Kumia wonye babi koi the same thing na ne buy enti ayi ade foforo bia ni wan enti minim say abrante no de enti na wo dwane a ono mpese obeje service ni nyina no wahu say ade foforo bi ba na me kra na eduru bia me say ade kra nkofo de omu ye kra no ese nka ekoto aba we na nka omo chi tofoma na omo hunu say ye fence enema wo me na me I was highly confident say ye kase ye kwa akoto aba nyindam wo win he will win but emra no so ho because lawyers dey back when sisi ya Supreme Court we ya bay what happens to the high court the appeal court ye fence case no so ho because omo the high court judge no issues no by na omo the appeal e wo appeal court in the Supreme Court so higher than the but different issues you say Supreme Court don person just say date now or the court na etwam and until omo afale say yen cancel case no outright but there is an appeal appeal court and this say appeal court e ka say judge no kwai ofa so odi ase na say den say no ye no enye papa nti watwa high court judgment no ma what happens to the Supreme Court judgment
okay me ba
Supreme case
on say Supreme Court dey na sexual right and the sexual right ne say olake jurisdiction na watena so nti on kwahye no kra nti na de bia waka bia on kwahye no ana court of appeal no e dia omokoye ne say omo wa on point of law ene ma ogina associate nkoto the entire constituency ni nyina no emre matia because 41 polling station or the buy and 41 polling station or kwati free mu still winning
about 500
votes what 500 vote to free 3700 now onya na just still emani win enti hono judge na on point of law the court of appeal in Kabima no and wasan the court Supreme Court say okra court na kan asem now so need to mean say what na so enti how you show say right to quash it ekoba say court of appeal dey na ya adwuma it rests the matter and there's some kwaye nkoso bi
good
ekoba say Supreme Court say no say right now anya adwuma court of appeal ebe review judgment no ahwe because appeal is a matter of what rehearing or say tie biem and to bet in what the cra ujina so says 41 polling station and kwana was so tifrimu nani kwan say we na judge na hwene ye te honso no so bebua sakobasa court of appeal so kobua no mse da bi 41 polling station no wontimi mfa ntwa entire results no ntimo nko kan 41 polling station na ene ne kobasa 41 polling station no e hon kwan na be conduct abato no
good okay
all right me pa chow
if say education na ye pena lawyer de amai enti baby edu sisi e de me fi say babe na me hwele sisi a fi say opani no minim no why be pen ayi bi afo
you go to pack
tuna ku nyo no ye yi say ono de why de obeya no why to say to pack pepe
but say no so de embo mine mine doesn't belong to urban bank
why be pen
yes
enti ebetima ba so betima ka sister one recognize na undermine court no enti na me kan say 3 arms of government no enkyere say take war echiche omumu enti me na me speaker of parliament enti me da mo kama asem kura minti waka sa asem ni bi pen the point is on the national constitution na a living organism capable of growth. So what justice so what can to 4 verses attorney general justice so what say it's a political document sui generis. This particular document no you can say sui generis are unique on its own and also say a living organism capable of growth. That means that a idea be onyini no okọ what you say and also whatever decision be our day baby in any interpretation be any provision be our day bano it must meet the aspirations of the good people of Ghana, not aspirations of whatever as member of parliament, not aspirations of people what was as a speaker of parliament. But senior lawyer. That is why I make a say. That is why I make a say that separateness no, a separateness with reciprocity. And the reciprocity be now the baby Juma asare versus attorney general. I was say reciprocal. And the say so be can we ya no ya ne de no de ba na se ne de ne ma okwan asa wugitum. Reciprocity no interdependence, but there is no take war separating the 3 arms of government. What you say, although the 3 arms of government are separated and no here it is separated in terms of functions and role be playing a function, but when it comes to decision which will meet the aspirations of the good people of Ghana and yet take war separating them, but there is that kind of separateness with what reciprocity, and it means that reciprocal and I was say Juma reciprocal no I was say would you wait the any two now so you say no court na di kan catch us court krona na ojina say yemfa wayi papa na firu and the same court na no asan ba say there be abanome yankoto yanto yabo 13 for no ade ne decision man to obi ankoto aba de a any seat no na the oteso na oteso enti osa recognizing our parliament enti wanya say there na the obey na unconstitutional because it doesn't need to stop the clock. You understand that the clock must continue to work 24/7. The clock na was say Juma. The good people of Pandai also mean good representation. Emma obi wo Pandai. So you cannot sit there and say court no say seshurara or deba but papa no nguso na court obi anyina ba bi ogina no aka kire say o ma member of parliament na ma. The good people of Pandai omu hia representation. Omu hia bibia I was say decision making. Ya de obi ka ho. And that parliamentary seat shouldn't be vacant. I was so obi wo ho. What you say? So this particular decision or the abano, it is indirectly telling you, say recognizing her, but the Supreme Court cannot tell the Parliament to say, make a who speak of Parliament or by a genitum, a bassa net so mu interfere with the work of the but that reciprocity it should give you a signal.
In that case, the court and it decided
parliament about court now that parliament also court no crowd the come parliament no yisi na mfi yisi ne so ye na independent work nti yisi ne so twa ya kopim so benya let be every parliament of which I don't dispute that one no a constitutional right as a parliament needs to be notify electoral commission say electoral commission. That is what I'm talking about. The clock must work and the also other country say kokoto abano. However, court aside the decision about WONTUMI or doubt, but the court no decision it binds on you. Supreme Court decision binds on you and it is giving you a signal But when it comes to even three arms of government now, when it comes to interpretation of the law, why they interpret? By virtue of Article 130 Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution, interpretation section, it has been given to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says say namaka. And Maka say there, it should give you a signal. I said there is no take war. Separating you from the Supreme Court. So when the judiciary make a decision, Wakacha said take war separating, and for that matter, I will not go by it. Intimini so. It was said you have to go by the orders because on order out there, but you have to go by signal now. When you say Obia Antana now recognize the Papa no Parliament. Baby, yes, I said, oh, yeah, be wa your markets, they are unconstitutional. And when it happens like that, it's going to bring a chaos in this country. You understand that? And we will not have respect for our institutions. Because when it happens like that, you also make an order in Parliament, or debut on my baby or Juma, another arm of government will interfere.
Mate, yeah, sorry, Jumatiano Stona, Gasto Bekshana, the Nature Medics Consult, Omo Atnase, but. Quickly before we go, no, Nkansah Yebekono, lawyer, what change the away, you know, Slabi be say petitioner, yeah, the common President Bahama for a year challenging a year, be a friend say, Justice Paul.
Yoni
Kolendi. The name is Yoni Kolendi.
Yeah, you see, Keke, so share. Justice Yoni Kolendi.
I am one president.
I am one, but Justice Yoni Kolendi is somebody I respect him a lot.
Yeah.
Because of her Justice Yoni Kolendi na brabo, nene I said obsi beye no practice as a lawyer, no din huni bebrebe Justice Yoni Kolendi asem na kwashe no kon. But you see, notwithstanding, the law is the law. So follow procedure, that procedure ought to be followed. What I say. So my point I'm making is Eyewu His Excellency
Send your man for Betiasio. The Ochro Koi Daniel Ofori Mafon. No, see ye on Sem Fata.
Also on Sem Fata say, ye didn't yet Supreme Court Judge Justice. The reason being that say, what in the Juma Dina and Kekawa be a bemu and Kekawa bemuni say, Eye or no never fasten and Hua Basem. Anna or no wetimiaton in South Fred former
Richard
Japa. And on what Miaton in South former Attorney General. And it's on what Miaton in South former Attorney General, I wouldn't fear. As only a former Attorney General and a wafer said Richard Japa, Ebra Missia wouldn't fear. Nanka some no munya no man on Cordia, and in it is a tietia, sir, a constitution and now and Marai born home by a man of Quincy and Faname Chief Justice Netiaho. I don't know the Koto and President Mahama. But Mr. President Mahama, Momo Tayanche. Say free Puaman so I call Justice Yoni Kolendi ho. Be Chief Justice. Enti omo doba ba kono no nti den na wakoye petition fa no ho a yetie. Enya do beti I love the man. Sa man no ye ja no na ye me de. However,
Chief Justice
Chief Justice dia wey e ba ye ya o so ode ne ba atu kwan. Eno de matimi agina so agina firi ho. No obi a wono asem da court anim. Na wakọ protect ne wo fa ase. Akofre former Attorney General asebra mi enhia ne twa akiri na asem ne enyim firi ho ane de obi petition ko ya one Justice Bafo body say ba onim asem we e wodo ebesan ba de ma me kan say obeka say Chief Justice ayasa akini ne de ba say ya e ma ye jai no ena omu ba ye no mo de agina sa asem kro na so abeyi no enti Justice Yoni Kolendi me penasem ba ye me ya mani trimu nya ne enso nya ne de ebetima basa aban foforo be basa Daniel Ofori ya basa atamasam ne de akọ aban bi de obehu sa primal fashion no ewo mu Article 146 na me asan de remove no eno na ne e ka chom say omu protect the former Chief Justice na omu ma nokre enadi be hu a omu suro President Mahama nti ni omu yie di a omu ho beto omu nti no obi ani ho a ofi maame tokuno enti ame asake no but dia wodi be ye onua no eno ana obi so de be ya wodachi but ya me ya say akoto Justice Yoni
Kolendi Richard Japa na akopa because all the class be by the
nice gentleman a nice Supreme Court respected lawyer respected Supreme Court judge or the decision ba na kan ya otumu say yes Nkansah say
very good lawyer
Justice Yoni Kolendi I'm telling you in a way ya me de say ja no but the law is the law
Richard Japa and your dear Korean and the law is the law and but honorable what is yes Callistus Mahama ne ho what friend
market na politics nti na de buy Yoni Kolendi said you okay me know you be am penasem papa because but ye party ye dru bi a ye wo nkrofobia ye ma omutumi ye pagya omo ye omo ne ye ni ye edru bi a mo yenka nokre o keke edru bi a mo yenka nokre hwe gofre ye bo adame ne ho kire no wo sa hansem yi ana on handle sa issue any japa issue ya ho ne kofa bae because the respect that he had for Justice Yule Kolendi anything we inviting woni fi o man ko ananya sanity
yes sanity
but at the end of the what happened nipa na office and wo fase no anti we invite no say ombra no ombo ano eduru abiri na gofre no wa ba nipa bonefo
say Japan the recordings the baba
exactly enti nipa na wo ni fie
me use so called recordings
yes enti nipa na wo inviting wo ni fie no oba no how come say onya ne number wo wie ya na say nipa na office wo say ombo ano na wo fase nde eduru abiri na nipa na office ombo ano na na wa akwa kire no over ye wene pa wa bi ye nye ne sa afrase o ye nyene sa frase ye mpani fo me ka che omo de bia se because enema nkrofo we di ya fom 1 year ye omo ba yi ene years ye wo ya nimi over 3 years na ka na wo nkrofo na ene omo di agro no nya sa na omo tie o because akofo ado ye na dwen se o man na ye kikire enti obi wo baby kura na se oye obi a onye full politician na owonimdi a obetumi di aboa ye nkofa na mra that's what he did we mo be sa na omo ye na Sanu moyeno. Na abne ne ma
ye double salary dey say ba no ko.
Yes. Your party fo bebre wo no mo kasa na de ama bufu abo mu say the way man ye treaty and this for no we kick gloves. E na man ne no mo kire atiwa kakra. Enti nkrofobia ye bo mo as party a ye tabiro mo offer nsema ye mu ye tete ne wa nya no nyina ne ye kana bonto. Justice Yule Kolendi ya me no obi a me pena sempa. Meanwhile, yes, Supreme Court a year. I
don't know the over penasable, but said your walk cano. Emrano de be a badia, and another lawyer can say, a buy a very facility. But that doesn't remove a say a be a nice lawyer, but they what fast. They what fast in our papas of Abraham. It's I don't know the other.
And the be there about him. Almost said go for a boy damage your mobile. Nancy, or much no don't call a CID. Emma Japan sense me Japan ko report
so ko report no
yes enti asane na so wi kra ye ka che gofre bo adame se akire omu hia na ombese afre no biem enti sa ne ma na ye treating crofo with kick gloves na say position de man crofo a omo form hu di ya ne over ye ne ye te ha na ye
o na sa do dey no mo
ye wi adwuma ya ye wi ye ba opposition
I do dey account o
afara kwatra brochi mamu
no say o say be so da wo dem o say be so da dem
exactly me so obi afa o man sika na so obi ayade a me support but the way amana ye adwen say ministers more than 34 more the double salary and evidence wo bibia wo ho ye de omo kokod akufu ado say there be political figures 34 do omo kokod a o man be he omo ba ye na omo ye omo ni me no wontumi omo tabiri no so obi bo wontumi di keke say o ye galamsi omo be nye no omo tabiri no a enne wontumi wo court ne me bo a o kina case ba ko a ngise nka court ba ko ya chembe se nan ayi minua ya ndro na se ya agi ni mobile money account nyina enti se wontumi mobile money kura wontumi nsende bi na sa nipa we ni e ba power bi ma ofa lawyer de mon kan law no ye be
yo gasto picture that's it ba usaka asem wo lawyer do but
na me hwe charges na de bomb na me hwe bia na me slow say what charge obi 54 count obi 78
that charges on the bomb why
I Mustafa Hamid
oh Mustafa there
54 count you see
omo dey about 5
okay say that
what is so dey about 5
no man who 54 na
oh 54 me say amount for there no market can you bet already na Nkansah say o man reduce
ba na team no 54 count no and before cry back count 1 particulars of offense nia kan be wie no na woda eti da be no be wie
yeah but gasto mixture that's say ya de be call another day because he say interesting times ahead wo hwe eye adubu ahedie kura da say do kura do baby Kwaku du kura do enika the obo de board charges for free 2020 chesa yeah ndisi fuwe omo kwani omo law omo kwani omo law school omo koy but Felix ewa na yenhwe eye nature medics consult omo de gasto mixture mensoplax mixture and afi prostaplax mixture aba ejaso Felix mema akwala
ya eja
so ho ye
nyankopon adom me ho ye pa
ye da ya mi ase ene eye brada ye koye ni
Yo, medasi ye pa openyin kese mechia watiefoɔ ɛne wahwɛfoɔ nyinaa medincha kese free Nature Medics asɛ ɛbrɛ obi biara. Nature Medics enupa ɛyɛ Prostaplax mixture